No one saw it coming. Not like this. Just when the dust seemed to settle in Buckingham Palace, Camilla made a move that stunned even her closest allies. Her bold demand? To erase the title Queen Consort and crown herself simply as Queen. But this wasn't just a name change. It was a declaration of power and betrayal. Princess Anne was furious. Prince William stayed silent, but his next step changed everything. And now the monarchy stands divided like never before. Could this be the moment everything breaks? The Queen is gone, but her final wish is far from fulfilled. The royal family's fragile unity. The British royal family has long been a symbol of tradition and continuity. However, recent events have exposed cracks in this facade, revealing a family grappling with internal discord and public scrutiny. Camilla's integration into the royal family has been a contentious issue. Her relationship with Charles, which began during his marriage to Princess Diana, cast a long shadow. Diana famously remarked, "There were 3 of us in this marriage," highlighting the strain Camilla's presence caused. Over time, efforts were made to rehabilitate Camilla's image. She took on charitable roles and maintained a low profile, gradually gaining public acceptance. In 2022, Queen Elizabeth II expressed her wish for Camilla to be known as Queen Consort upon Charles's accession. This endorsement was seen as a significant step in solidifying Camilla's position within the monarchy. However, the decision to drop Consort from her title and be known simply as Queen has reignited debates. Some view this as a departure from the late Queen's wishes and a challenge to long-standing traditions. As the royal family navigates these turbulent waters, internal disagreements have come to the forefront, particularly between Camilla and Princess Anne. Princess Anne's opposition. Princess Anne, known for her steadfast commitment to duty, has reportedly expressed disapproval of Camilla's elevation to queen. Sources suggest that Anne viewed this move as a betrayal of their mother's legacy. She is said to have remarked, "Camilla will never be a true queen." Anne's dedication to royal duties and her no-nonsense approach have earned her respect. Her opposition to Camilla's new title underscores the tension between tradition and modernization within the monarchy. The relationship between Anne and Camilla has been described as frosty. Their differing personalities and approaches to royal life have contributed to this dynamic. While Anne is known for her directness, Camilla is perceived as more strategic. This internal conflict highlights the challenges the royal family faces in balancing personal relationships with public expectations. The coronation of King Charles III was expected to be a unifying event, but it instead became a focal point for these underlying tensions. The coronation controversy. The coronation of King Charles III was anticipated as a momentous occasion, marking a new era for the monarchy. However, it was overshadowed by Camilla's decision to be titled Queen rather than Queen Consort. This move was met with surprise and concern within the royal household. Senior officials, some of whom had served the crown for decades, were reportedly taken aback. One insider noted, "This was not just a simple change in royal protocol. It was a declaration that flew in the face of centuries-old tradition." The public reaction was mixed. While some accepted the change, others viewed it as a disregard for Queen Elizabeth II's expressed wishes. The decision reignited debates about the monarchy's adherence to tradition and its ability to adapt to modern times. Camilla's assertion of the title Queen without the consort has become a symbol of the evolving nature of the monarchy, reflecting broader societal shifts and internal family dynamics. Amidst these developments, Prince William's role and perspectives have become increasingly significant. as he navigates the complexities of tradition, modernization, and family loyalty. Prince William's growing influence. As the dust settled around Camilla's unexpected title change, all eyes turned to Prince William. In the wake of King Charles's health concerns and the Queen Consort controversy, William quietly began stepping into a stronger leadership role, but with a very different approach. He's long been seen as the future of the monarchy, but now he's being viewed as its present as well. According to palace insiders, William wasn't just observing the shifts, he was beginning to shape them. One close aide reportedly said, "William believes in tradition, but he's not bound by it. He's modern, pragmatic, and fiercely loyal to the people." Unlike his father, William favors a slimmed-down royal model, one that reflects today's values. He believes in fewer working royals, more accountability, and public-facing roles that actually make a difference. He's not playing politics inside the palace, one source revealed. He's preparing for a monarchy that can survive the next century. But what about Camilla? Sources close to William say he was not pleased with how the Queen Consort situation was handled. While he didn't openly oppose Camilla's new title, he reportedly viewed the move as disruptive and poorly timed. In private, William allegedly told an advisor, "We owe the public consistency, not confusion." And then there's his silent nod to Princess Anne. William has been quietly aligning with her, recognizing her values, work ethic, and her fierce loyalty to his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth. It's a powerful pairing that's starting to steer the royal ship in a new direction. But if Prince William was stepping up behind the scenes, his next moves would bring long-standing tensions with Camilla right into the spotlight and show that the battle for influence was far from over. Camilla's isolation begins. Camilla had made her bold declaration. She dropped consort and called herself queen. But in the weeks that followed, something strange happened. The energy around her began to shift. She was still present at engagements, still smiling for the cameras. But behind palace walls, her power was starting to slip. The first signs came quietly. Key staff members who had once supported her began being reassigned. Invitations that used to include her name were suddenly directed toward others, namely Princess Sophie and Catherine, the Princess of Wales. Camilla, once central, was now being carefully edged toward the side. Insiders whispered about tension at strategy meetings. "Camilla expected to be heard," said one senior aide, but lately, fewer people are listening. William had reportedly instructed advisors to redirect media focus toward younger royals and working members with clean public records and strong causes. Camilla's biggest problem wasn't just Anne or William. It was the fact that she didn't have deep-rooted support among the younger generation of royals. Catherine remained cordial but distant, and William's children, George, Charlotte, and Louis, had little visible connection to their step-grandmother. Without allies, Camilla began to feel the chill of royal politics. One insider claimed, "Camilla may hold the title, but influence is slipping from her grasp, day by day." Another added bluntly, "She may have won the crown, but she's losing the room." And just when it seemed like Camilla's position was becoming fragile, Princess Anne stepped back in, not with whispers, but with a direct confrontation that left no doubt where she stood. Anne's final confrontation. It wasn't a speech. It wasn't a press release. It was a private meeting, but what happened behind those palace doors would become the defining moment in the rift between Princess Anne and Queen Camilla. Anne had had enough. After weeks of watching Camilla assert herself as queen, Anne requested a meeting, one-on-one. It was granted. The setting, a quiet chamber at Windsor Castle, filled with portraits of the very monarchs whose traditions Anne believed Camilla had violated. The tension was thick. According to sources, Anne began the conversation calmly but firmly. "You've overstepped," she reportedly said. "This wasn't your decision to make. It was hers, and she's gone." The her was, of course, Queen Elizabeth II. Camilla didn't back down. She stood her ground and replied, "I'm doing what's best for the future." But Anne wasn't buying it. "No," she said. "You're doing what's best for you." Her tone was sharp, final. Witnesses described the exchange as cold, clipped, and cutting. There was no shouting, just the sound of two powerful women locking horns over the soul of the monarchy. And when Anne left the room, she didn't slam the door. She didn't storm out. She simply said, "We'll see where this leads." The confrontation marked a turning point. From that day, Anne stopped attending events where Camilla was prominently featured. She focused instead on mentoring William, strengthening Catherine's position, and reinforcing the values her mother had championed. And what Anne did next, quietly but unmistakably, would send Camilla a message more powerful than any confrontation ever could. The quiet shift of power. As tensions between Anne and Camilla intensified, another royal woman began to rise, quietly but unmistakably. Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, had always been in the background, polite, reserved. But now, she was stepping into the spotlight, and not by accident. Sophie's loyalty had never wavered. She had served alongside the late Queen Elizabeth with grace, and her efforts often flew under the radar. But people inside the palace noticed something changing. Invitations that once went to Camilla were now subtly redirected. Sophie began representing the crown at high-profile engagements, especially those involving women's rights and humanitarian causes. Her Majesty admired Sophie's steadiness. One former courtier revealed, "She didn't chase attention. She just showed up and did the work." That's the kind of leadership we need now. William and Catherine took note. According to insiders, Sophie became a frequent guest at Kensington Palace. There, she and Catherine reportedly discussed future roles and responsibilities, with William quietly observing. Sophie fits the new image of the monarchy. Calm, relatable, and scandal-free, one aide explained. That's what matters now. Even the press began shifting. Royal correspondents started highlighting Sophie's contributions. Headlines praised her charity work, her dedication to causes like sexual violence prevention, and her ability to connect with people without pretense. Public opinion followed. Sophie's approval ratings soared. While Sophie's influence was rising, Camilla's footing grew shakier, and just when it seemed she might reclaim some control, a new challenge emerged. One from the public itself. The public backlash. Camilla may have secured her title, but she hadn't secured the people's heart. Within days of the coronation updates, social media erupted. The title change from Queen Consort to simply Queen didn't just stir royal watchers, it ignited outrage. Not. My Queen began trending across Twitter. Royal forums, once divided, united in disbelief. How can she erase Queen Elizabeth's wishes with one announcement? One user posted. Another added, "Diana was never given justice, and now Camilla crowns herself?" Even long-standing royal supporters voiced concern. In a viral editorial, royal commentator Victoria Arbiter wrote, "The monarchy survives on trust. Camilla's decision risks unraveling that trust, not just with the family, but with the nation." At public events, the reception was icy. Camilla was booed twice, once during a hospital visit, once outside Westminster Abbey. The palace tried to spin it. "Unfortunate timing," said an official, but privately they were rattled. "This wasn't the plan," a source admitted. "We thought the public had moved on." They hadn't. What stung even more was the comparison to Catherine. Wherever the Princess of Wales went, cheers followed. Children rushed to greet her. Elderly women whispered, "She reminds me of the Queen." Meanwhile, Camilla remained distant, polished, but disconnected. As public trust in Camilla began to crumble, Prince William made a move. Subtle, strategic, but impossible to ignore. A royal reshuffle was coming, and Camilla wasn't in the center of it. William's silent reshuffle. Without calling it a power move, Prince William made one. Over the next few weeks, palace schedules shifted, media placements changed, and Camilla, once a mainstay in royal coverage, slowly began to disappear from the headlines. One staffer whispered, "No one said she's out, but the vibe? She's out." The official calendar filled up with Catherine's hospital visits, Sophie's overseas tours, and Princess Anne's policy events. Camilla, meanwhile, was assigned lower-profile duties: quiet meetings, private luncheons, no major speeches. Royal PR began to reflect William's long-term plan: modern monarchy, fewer distractions. And Camilla, with her controversial past, was quickly becoming a distraction. Even the coronation footage shared on official channels highlighted others more than her. One edit even cropped her out of a key scene, something eagle-eyed fans noticed instantly. Insiders say William believes in honoring his father, King Charles, but he's also preparing for what's next. He's looking 10 years ahead, one aide revealed, and in that vision, Camilla isn't at the center. Catherine is. A senior figure reportedly summarized it perfectly. Camilla might wear the crown, but she doesn't hold the keys. William does. And as Camilla's spotlight dimmed, one final confrontation would force her to face the reality she had tried to avoid, the one that came with a chilling verdict. Goodbye, forever. Camilla faces the inevitable. Camilla may have called herself queen, but inside the palace, the tone had shifted. The days of smiling photos and diplomatic silence were gone. Now the quiet judgment was loud enough to feel. Royal aides spoke less freely around her. Some long-trusted advisors began redirecting their attention elsewhere. It didn't help that even King Charles seemed different. With his health in slow decline, his focus turned inward to legacy, to stability, to peace. "He's tired," said one longtime butler. "He doesn't want more drama. He just wants to finish well." Camilla tried to keep up appearances. She hosted events, smiled for the cameras, and wore the jewels that once belonged to the late queen. But even she could sense it. The shift. The warmth was gone. The respect wasn't growing. It was thinning. Her biggest fear had crept in. She had the title, but not the power. Behind closed doors, staff spoke of a palace increasingly loyal to William's vision. One assistant confided, "It's not personal, it's survival. People are placing bets on where the future lies, and it's not with Camilla." The verdict was forming, not through a press release or official statement, but through silence. A silence that screamed, "You're no longer needed." But silence wasn't the only signal. What happened next was clear, final, and unmistakable. It came from the one person Camilla never thought would make such a move. King Charles breaks the pattern. For years, Charles had defended Camilla at all costs. He shielded her from public criticism, pulled strings to elevate her title, and bent royal tradition to accommodate her. But now, With the monarchy facing mounting pressure and his own health in question, even he had to reconsider. One morning, insiders say Charles held a private meeting with key advisors, without Camilla. This had never happened before. For over a decade, Camilla had been present at nearly every major strategy session. This time, her name wasn't even on the schedule. He needed clarity, said a palace source, and she wasn't providing it. Reports surfaced that Charles had expressed concern about Camilla's growing public unpopularity. "We're not connecting," he allegedly told aides, "and I fear we're losing people." The conversation quickly turned toward the future, specifically William and Catherine. "Let them lead," Charles said quietly. "The country already looks to them." One royal advisor later shared, "That was the first time we heard Charles speak about Camilla's limitations. He wasn't angry, he was just resolved." In public, the king remained composed, but his actions spoke louder than words. Camilla was noticeably absent from a number of high-profile events. In her place, Princess Catherine stood, poised, graceful, everything the public adored. And just when Camilla thought the worst was behind her, one more surprise came, not from the palace, but from a voice of the past that echoed louder than ever before. Diana's legacy returns. For years, royal advisors had tried to silence the ghost of Diana. They avoided her name, downplayed comparisons, and begged the press to focus on the present. But with Camilla's title shift sparking backlash, Diana's legacy came roaring back, stronger than ever. The public hadn't forgotten. Social media lit up with vintage clips of Diana's warmth, her charity work, and her unforgettable interviews. "There were 3 of us in this marriage," she once said, and now those words echoed across headlines again. TikTok and YouTube were flooded with fan-made tributes. #Princess. Diana began trending, and it wasn't just the internet. Journalists began openly revisiting the past. One major paper ran a front-page story, "Diana's Crown, Camilla's Controversy." Even commentators who once supported Camilla called for reflection. "The crown should honor memory, not erase it," wrote one royal columnist. Prince William remained composed, but those close to him say the flood of Diana coverage affected him deeply. "He knows who his mother was," said a friend, "and he knows what she meant to the people." Even Prince Harry, estranged though he may be, posted a rare statement, "My mother's truth still matters." It was brief but sharp, and it cut deep. Camilla, for all her efforts, couldn't fight the past. Diana's shadow was long, and growing longer. And as that shadow stretched across Buckingham Palace, Camilla realized what everyone else already knew. The end was here. Goodbye forever. It didn't come with an announcement. It didn't come with a ceremony. But, make no mistake, Camilla's time at the center of power had ended. The signs were everywhere. Charles began attending events alone. When asked, aides said, "Her Majesty is resting." But insiders knew better. She wasn't resting. She was retreating. A new royal family image emerged. William, Catherine, Anne, Sophie. A united front. Lean, modern, deeply connected to the public. Camilla was missing from official social media posts. Her photo, once front and center, was now quietly replaced. She had become background. According to one palace source, she may still wear the crown in public, but behind the scenes, she's been gently pushed aside. Her influence faded fast. Charities she supported were reassigned. Staff she favored were transferred. Camilla now occupied a ceremonial role, present but powerless. And the final blow? A quiet update to the Line of Succession webpage. No mention of Queen Camilla, just the Queen. And the photo? Catherine. Elegant, respected, loved. The verdict had been delivered, not by a single person, but by the monarchy itself. Quiet, swift, absolute. As one royal historian put it, Camilla got the crown, but she never got the kingdom. If you found this story gripping, hit that like button, subscribe for more royal drama, and turn on notifications so you never miss a twist in the monarchy's unfolding saga.